All right, House of Payne fans, we are here to discuss Season 11, Episode 5, entitled Meme, Myself, and I. To be honest, I pretty much enjoyed the episode for the most part. I think for me, the thing keeping it from a perfect 10 out of 10 score were a couple of things, and I have not been a fan at all of how over the top and insufferable CJ has been since the show has returned. I think his character is suffering due to Janine not being around, because it seems that when you have a dynamic duo like Keenan and Kel, or Key and Peele, or Janine and CJ, or Calvin and Ella, Mr. Brown, Cora, the list goes on. When if one piece of that dynamic duo is removed, what becomes of the single character left? And I think the thing that really hurts CJ in the reboot is the fact that more often than not, he's forced to be in the position of the overbearing father, or, the older character who's out of touch with the young people nowadays. And it just doesn't really sit well. It just seems like the lack of understanding on his part, in that, hey, you know what, I know best, or these people are going to do what I tell them to do, and this and that, as opposed to just having a conversation. So the B story involving, CJ, I believe catfishing is the term that Miranda used, as he became Dana Ray online to spy on the lives of, his kids Malik and Jasmine, and hell, even Lisa. But the A story, which is the one that was in the synopsis as well as the title of this video, or excuse me, this episode, was, Calvin recording Curtis and making him go viral for the sake of his ad campaign, and, this and that. The episode, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 because mainly due to the fact that in my trailer breakdown, I was like, you know what, the trailer breakdown, the synopsis talked about how, Curtis would gain viral internet, he would gain internet fame from being a viral sensation, but then abuse it. And I was like, okay, with Curtis being Curtis, I know he'll probably walk around like a movie star and whatnot, but what he should do is utilize that fame for the sake of his barbecue business. And things went almost exactly like I thought they would. It just, this show suffers from the 20-minute syndrome. The fact that there are very good storylines sometimes, but the fact that the show is 20 minutes long, and sometimes it's sharing that time limit with 2 or 3 other stories, a B and C story, that aren't as interesting as the main one. I feel like there could have been a lot done with the barbecue business implemented on social media, but they really didn't do anything with it. So yeah, 8 out of 10. But let me just say this much: the opening scene, for me, I was blown away. I know I might seem like I'm blowing it out of proportion, but just seeing Lisa and Malik chilling on the couch, and you got the baby crib. I love how the fact, again, there's no baby on set, but they're going to show you, oh, we haven't forgotten about the baby. We're going to show you a stroller next to the closet. We're going to show you a crib. I don't know why, but, the baby aside, just seeing, Malik on the couch, Lisa laying across the couch, her feet, across, Malik's lap. They're just on the phones having a good time. I don't know why, but that scene, I just really loved it, because I don't think we've ever seen too much of that. We've seen 1 or 2 moments where, they're on the couch, or they're sitting at the, the dining room table, and they might be talking, or they might be arguing, going back and forth for an entire episode, but then have one sweet moment. But just seeing them, having a moment together like that, I think really is a big deal. But, hey, what can you do? So CJ comes downstairs and is asking if Malik is friends with Jasmine on, I believe My Face is the name of the fictional social media, app. It's like, hey, do you follow each other on there? And basically, it turns out that Lisa blocked her parents, and, Malik and Jasmine, they haven't accepted CJ's request. And, Malik just tries to tell his dad, well, hey, you typically, parents and their kids, they don't make the best social media pals. It's just one of those things where the line has to be crossed somewhere. So from there, Calvin comes over for some peace and quiet to work on an ad campaign, I believe for like a furniture company. And, Curtis apparently is bugging him every 2 seconds. So as soon as Calvin, sets up getting ready to work, Curtis busts in and he's ranting about the fact that the repairman hasn't come over to fix his AC. And from there, CJ is telling him to find the flashlight over the washing machine in the washroom. And Calvin catches his dad on camera just going off, literally losing his mind because the flashlight isn't working right. He's like tossing it around. He's doing some of his classic Curtis dialogue, in the middle of a rant. And, that leads to an idea. Later on at Curtis's house, Calvin hides the camera in a plant, and he tries to like trigger his dad. I think my favorite part of this scene was when Calvin was sitting in the chair across from his dad, and he was kind of looking back and sliding down into the chair to make sure he wasn't in the shot. So he's trying everything he can to get Curtis triggered from saying, some teens, hipsters and whatnot, or millennials moving across the street and gentrification and whatnot. But the thing that sets Curtis off is finding out that Sweeties, or one of his favorite restaurant places in town, it has been replaced with a salad bar, and that leads to him going full on Curtis Payne, you heard me mode. From there, it turns out that the clip went viral. I mean, he sent this ad campaign to his boss. His boss loved it, and it just took off. It took off. But real quick, let's go back to CJ's house, because Miranda comes downstairs thanking CJ for letting Christian come by for a play date, due to the fact that she was sick of watching Moana. It's kind of funny because Encanto is like the new Moana, but CJ is so distracted that he doesn't even hear what she's saying. And this is when he reveals his Dana Ray catfishing profile to spy on the kids. Now, turns out Jasmine actually accepted the request, and Miranda is trying to be the voice of reason. She's essentially being the Janine in this situation. And no, I'm not saying that Miranda and CJ are married or going to be married or hooking up. I'm just saying in terms of Miranda is fulfilling the role that Janine would be playing, trying to be the voice of reason. Like, CJ, I think you're doing way too much. This is ridiculous. You're pretending to be a female online. So from there, later on, you have Miranda and I think Lisa were chilling on the couch, and Malik comes in with some groceries, and Lisa talks about how this girl Dana Ray is getting all up in her business, and then Miranda spills the beans about the situation. Malik looks and finds that he also has a friend request from Dana Ray, and then calls Jasmine about the situation. Yeah, there's a lot of name drops in this episode from Jasmine and Janine and Floyd. I think Floyd was mentioned when Curtis was going on one of his rants. But from there, Malik is on the phone with Jasmine. Again, one of those moments where a character voiceover would have been nice, just to kind of hear, China Anne McClain's voice, because it's been so long since her character was seen in the series, ever since season 9. But in any case, they come up with a plan to get back at Dad because they found out what he was doing. So, going over to Curtis's house, it's funny because Ella is asking Calvin what's going on, and he reveals that his ad campaign is going well. She says, "Oh, I can't wait to see it." But I think when Curtis was going up on the roof to fix the AC and whatnot himself, he overhears the ad campaign, and, you know, Calvin says what he did. He's sorry for everything, but then after finding out he's a viral success, Curtis wants to use that newfound fame for his own personal gain. So later on in the episode, CJ comes over to the house and sees that it's literally like a Hollywood production. You got Ella, quote unquote, touching up Curtis's face, and Calvin setting the camera and whatnot. And before they even start, you know, Calvin rightfully says, see, the thing about it is, Pops, the reason you went viral is because of the spontaneity and the rawness of your ranting. So to have it all posed, and I guess you could say just so staged, it loses the authenticity that made him viral to begin with. But Curtis, being Curtis, doesn't want to hear any of that. So Ella, like, purposefully tries to trigger him, and at first it works, but then you had this awful transition to the barbecue sauce, and as a result, you know, it didn't go so well. I mean, to be completely honest, I'm surprised that Calvin's bosses allowed that ad to go through. I mean, I guess, you know, Calvin makes the ad campaign and just sends it in, but I feel like there has to be somebody to review it, because that was awful. I mean, why didn't Calvin just say, Dad, that was, you know, let's do a take 2 or something, because that wasn't it. I mean, I know Tyler Perry himself, a lot of cast say that 99% of the shows are, you know, one take, but hell, I feel like even Tyler would have been like, hey, let's run that back again. So it feels weird, but then again, it's a side effect of the 20-minute syndrome. You know, the fact that there isn't enough time to go into that, because why not have Calvin saying, look, Dad, this isn't working. I feel like we should still run with the whole, you know, you blowing your stack campaign because it's working. I mean, heck, they even make a reference to the Geico lizard at one point. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they kept saying YouTube, so I guess YouTube must be one of those company names that can be used in shows without being, you know, what's the word, copyright, or you have to pay in order to use it. Hence why they use my face instead of MySpace or Facebook, but they can say YouTube. I guess it's a public domain to use in, you know, production like that. But in any case, yeah, it would have been great to have Calvin say, hey, let's run with the campaign we currently got because you're viral. And then how about I film a professional commercial for you doing the Wipe Me Down Sauce Boss? I think that would have been great, because people would be like, oh man, this old man, just this old black man going on rants is funny, but is he, what does he do? Who is he? And then there's a professional ad. That would have been great. But you know, hey, it is what it is. I guess it's about the humility of the situation, because towards the very end of the episode, that's when everybody starts, you know, to realize how over the top they've been, whether it be Curtis or whether it be CJ, who, right before they started filming the terrible ad, by the way, get some text messages as Dana Ray from Jasmine about, you know, oh, dropping out of college. And I feel like this is the first time we got confirmation that Jasmine is indeed in college, because some people in season 9 were saying, well, she talks about school and whatnot and how other girls look up to her, but we didn't know if she was in college, especially with the inconsistency of the character ages. But yes, she is in college, which I never doubted because of her absence from the house. So it's like, yeah, it makes sense that she would be on campus and then sometimes, you know, visit home. But yeah, Jasmine is in college. Yeah, I want to drop out of college and do adult films, and I want to get a tattoo, and he rushes out of the house. So let's move on to the end of the episode. So after he rushes back over to his house, CJ, you know, yells for Malik, who's doing laundry, and, you know, pretty much ask about the whole situation. So when did Jasmine start acting? What do you mean acting out, acting up? Like, Dad, you're not telling me anything. Keep in mind that Malik knows about his catfishing profile, but CJ doesn't know, or CJ doesn't know that Malik knows. So essentially, he kind of jokes around about the tattoos. Oh yeah, she got a dragon going up her leg, up her back and everything. And then CJ, you know, overreacts and kind of roughs him up a bit until Malik calms him down. So he goes upstairs, and yeah, next thing you know, oh, she's getting a piercing too. A piercing? So from there, there's a moment where he's like, wait, when was the last time you talked to your sister? A couple days ago, like she wanted to have me pick her up to go to lunch with mom, but actually mom went to get her. So Janine was, you know, mentioned, as she will be at the end of the episode. But it turns out that when you get to the end of the episode, CJ's and Malik are just chilling on the couch, and he's kind of put on blast because Janine actually gave him a good, you know, just told him off about how spying was ridiculous, over the top, and unnecessary. And CJ's like, well, the thing is, I still want to be a part of y'all's lives. And look, you'll always be part of our lives, but just not our social media life. But I think the thing is that the lesson here should have been, look, social media is one thing, but it's most important that you're here in our real lives. This could have been a more grounded lesson at the end of it, as opposed to, yeah, parents and kids don't make good social media buddies. I mean, obviously this episode was a perfect example of that, but if they really wanted to add a wholesome message to it, it's like, Dad, in our real lives, you're there for us, you're here for us, and we're in each other's lives. When we're on social media, that's all virtual, so it doesn't really matter. So you could also argue, CJ is like, well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you're not telling me and whatnot. Well, yeah, we all got our lives to live, but just know that it's more important to have you here in reality versus the virtual reality. That could have been good, but they didn't do that. And I know he's like, you know, oh, well, yeah, it's like they ain't paying rent, they living on my roof, they're going to accept my friend request. Nah, I mean, hell, in college there were some roommates I had where we didn't accept friend requests, and it wasn't like, you know what, I don't like you, so I'm not accepting you on my Facebook. We were roommates. We lived on the same hall. We go to, you know, campus church and all together sometimes. So that was it. And it was, those experiences together as roommates, I feel like, was a hell of a lot better than just being social media buddies, being nosy, because of the fact that there is a small fraction of college people in my social media, well, specifically Facebook, where I only have like 140 friends. I think most of my friends on there are like ex-co-workers from when I worked at the call center, because of the fact that, you know, typically when you're roommates, when that year of being roommates is over, or that semester, they transfer, if they graduate, more often than not, you really don't keep up with a lot of people. You know, thinking back, I'm only Facebook friends with 4 of my former roommates. Yeah, 5 if you count being in a quad, you know, with 4 different rooms, you know, roommates. So yeah, it's just one of those things where CJ be tripping. So from there, Calvin gets a call from his boss talking about how his dad needs to be dropped from the campaign, and he's going to be substituted with a YouTuber who sits in a tub and it's filled with milk and cereal, and he eats it. And then Curtis says he wants to do that as well. And, you know, I mean, the comment section were just lighting him up. It was like, man, that guy looks like he brushes his teeth with that barbecue sauce. And yeah, this really could have been good. Kind of like the whole moral lesson with CJ and Malik. It could have been used to make a legit ad for his barbecue business. It's like, son, you work on the social media app, you know about the algorithm and whatnot. How about you help out with a, you know, add me, Floyd, and we'll get this thing going with the sauce bosses. But yeah, this kind of stuff, this was an over-the-top episode played for laughs, but it could have been some great lessons in it. But like I said before, the opening scene with Malik and Lisa, I loved it. Miranda looks like she's been trimming down, you know, like losing weight. I don't know why, but maybe it's the outfit she's wearing, but damn, she's like looking better and better each episode. And that's really it. You know, I thought this was a pretty decent episode, 8 out of 10. It could have been better, but I thought it was pretty good for what it was. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So hit the thumbs up button to show you liked the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit subscribe and hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel.